Saying no may be your secret to unlocking greater levels of productivity, effectiveness, and happiness. Hi everyone, welcome to Flow with Ali. Welcome back, or if you're new here, I'm Ali. I share yoga flows or yoga-related chats, or as one of my subscribers referred to it, fireside chats. So just a way for us to talk about topics that are either directly or indirectly related to yoga. So basically, we're gonna talk about productivity from a yoga perspective. I'm gonna share some of my personal experiences. I'll share what inspired this video in hopes that you learn not from me because I'm an expert, but from my experience and some of the things I've learned as I've really given this a crucial look in my life. So I'll be sharing 3 steps that can help you take a look at your life and realize where you could potentially pull back by saying no in order to conserve your energy and therefore create more space and say yes to things that will boost your productivity, to push you along and get closer to your goals, and to overall just make your day-to-day life feel a little more joyful. As this channel has grown, I have so enjoyed getting to know you all who comment on my videos, who come back to practice with me. And I know you have lives outside of this short period of time that we connect through the yoga practice. And I'm sure you have goals, you have ambitions, you are balancing different responsibilities through work, through your personal life. It can feel overwhelming and we can get burnt out. These things happen, and it's not about avoiding feeling burnout, feeling anxious, feeling all of these things. It's about knowing how to catch yourself and to take a look at your life in a more objective way and figure out what sort of changes need to be made. These don't have to be big changes. Small changes lead to big changes with time. So like small change plus time equals big change. With that, I just want to pose a question. So this is more of a back and forth. I am curious what you do for a living or how you spend your time, and maybe what goals you're working towards if you care to share. So drop that in the comments. If you have not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe. I post new yoga classes 1 to 2 times a week with a sprinkled in occasional fireside chat mixed in along the way. I'm going to tell you a little story into what inspired this video in my life, and then I'll get into these 3 steps to help you be more productive by saying no. And I know that the word no can seem more pessimistic, or saying no might not seem like the nicest thing. I will explain along the way what I mean, but I'm also gonna end with things that I encourage you to say yes to. So we're gonna end with yes. So the story time is about burnout. Near the end of the year, I felt it just come to a head. I felt it building between YouTube, teaching yoga in 3 different studios, and then also having 2 children and a family and life. I got burnt out. It felt like my mind was not often at rest, which sounds ironic given the fact that my job is to teach yoga and to help people. Things just got pretty out of control. I was spread really, really thin. In the moment, I didn't have a lot of clarity as to why. So I took a step back. It took just a minute, but then I got back to it and I felt the stress and the burnout come back. What is it? What is it that's causing this stress? I realized that something that was causing the stress was also something I thought was great for me. It was one of my jobs at one of the studios. But it turns out that that job was actually draining me more than it was providing a big benefit. So at first my thought was, well, I'm gonna stick with it. It is a job, so it's a source of money. It is something I felt I was learning and growing from, but ultimately I stopped and I said, you know what? I don't know if it's worth it. I think that I can get by without this. There were a lot of things that that job asked of me that were draining me. I was driving around too much. I'm carting children around, and then I'm shuttling and commuting to a studio, and then I'm going to another studio, and then I'm going here and there and everywhere. I wanted to invest more in other areas related to media and YouTube and other opportunities that I have before I welcomed in more to overwhelm myself. I decided to say no and to close off that channel, that job. It was really hard, you know, when you have to send a message that is uncomfortable and that you don't want to send, but you know you have to. I did it, it turned out well, and I realized that sometimes you have to say no in order to say yes to something else. So in saying no to a job that was on paper and from the outside going pretty well, I in turn welcomed in a new chapter where I can do more of my work online, do more work that I own. Like this channel I own, and it is my own business, and it is an investment that I'm making. So anyways, I'm gonna take you through the process that I kind kind of use to get to the point of realizing what it was that was causing the stress that was not necessary and that was holding me back from other things in life, and how I took action to address that. So the first step is to know yourself. Before I even say, take a good hard look at your day and your life and what's causing stress, I really want you to think about how you operate best. Do you need a lot of downtime alone to recharge? So are you more of an introvert? Or do you need to be with other people to feel like you're recharging your batteries? Or do you need a combination? How much are you getting? How much do you need? So kind of thinking about who you are, what makes you tick, what makes you feel good, and what doesn't make you feel good. How many of the things throughout your day that are not making you feel good are not actually necessary? Obviously, a lot of things that we don't like doing and that suck our energy are necessary. We all have bills to pay. We all have things that we have to do that are required. But are there things that are draining your emotional, mental batteries that are not necessary, or that you could change the approach to make them a little bit more joyful? Are there ways or alternatives that could make this just a little bit better? Because sometimes you're not necessarily aiming for going from bad to good. You're trying to go from energy sucking to a little bit less energy sucking, because that will start to improve and get you more to where you want to be. So with this step of know yourself, it takes taking some time to stop and to look inward, to take a more objective look at things. With that comes step number 2, which is to establish a practice to objectively examine your life and take an audit of what's working and what's not working. This could be better. This is absolutely soul-sucking and brutal for me. Are there different approaches? Can I stop and look at this from a different angle and make a change? So maybe you are in a position where your job is not your dream job. You're not necessarily doing something that you're incredibly passionate about, but you're also not feeling amazing in your day-to-day life. Maybe you can't change your job right now, but maybe you can take a look at the other things that you are doing and find a way to make it a little bit more joyful. And that can be by either removing something, changing it, limiting it. My examples with this are social media, media consumption, news consumption. All of these affect your mindset. So if your job is challenging and stressful, because you're drained and burned out and going on Instagram and TikTok, that consumption may be making the feelings you have about your job a bit worse, because those things may not enrich and make you feel rested and full. So first step might be just writing down what comes to mind off the bat. Second step might be to take a look at your day. Think about what you do the first second you wake up. Are you picking up your phone and just immediately looking at all the red notifications and responding, or scrolling? Think about how that makes you feel. Does your stress level immediately rise when you wake up? And can you change that? Maybe you just don't look at your phone first thing. Maybe you start with water. Maybe you start with tea. Maybe you create a lovely routine around making your coffee and your breakfast. Think about that first step to the day, and then think about it all the way up to when you get back in your bed and rest on your pillow. Just every moment. And I found sometimes you can even just make a mundane moment more joyful. Like if I have a pile of dishes over there in my kitchen right now, I really don't want to do them, but can I make it more joyful by putting on a podcast or creating space for something I love, like singing a song I love? I encourage you to write this all down on a piece of paper. It can be even helpful to write out the action, big or small, and maybe you do a different color, like a green for something that's feeling good and a red for something that's feeling like a drain or a pull on your energy. The practice in doing this, aside from creating the list, is also practice to sit with things and to meditate on things that are. This could be a pure meditation, sitting in a chair, lying down, and just allowing your feelings to come up, allowing the ideas to arise. It could be through a yoga practice, which obviously I highly recommend. The check-in step can also be journaling, going for a walk. It can be doing a different form of exercise, talk therapy. It could be chatting with a friend or a significant other. It could be talking to yourself while you drive. Don't get distracted while you drive, but sometimes when I'm driving, I just get ideas. There's something to me about being in motion. That's why I love yoga so much as my practice. Something about being in motion, whether it be moving on your mat or just driving in a car, that sometimes those ideas come. Sometimes I get an amazing idea during a class that I'm taking from somebody else, and at the end and I immediately write down in my notepad 5 different ideas that come to my mind. The practice should be something that you enjoy. So if you're choosing yoga, of course I'm going to pick that as the example, try to enjoy that. It should be something you look forward to doing, or that you know you have to do, so you're going to find some joy in that. Choosing to say, I get to have my check-in. I get to check in with myself. This is something that you're going to continually do, because you can set this good habit, but you need to continually check up, just like you have to continually go to the doctor and get a checkup. This check-in step, in my opinion, is the most important. The next step is to take action. Look at these things, big and small, and just take a look at where you could say no right off the bat and just cross it off. Maybe there's something that you're doing or an activity that you're doing just because you feel that you should do it. That's not necessary. That is doing nothing for you. It's not making you feel good, and it's not moving you forward along your goals. Maybe it's this social obligation or this group that you're a part of that you just feel obligated to be a part of, but it's actually burning you out because it's taking up a lot of time and energy and taking away that time and energy towards the things that you want to focus on. You can always say no and pull back, or maybe you cut your commitment in half. You can choose to say no to having certain apps on your phone. You can choose to say no to the way that your physical environment is arranged. I'm a person who is very affected by their environment. Sometimes it's just putting clutter away or shifting one piece of furniture and the inspiration comes back. These are lots of random examples, but it just goes to show that your mental health and your mindset and the story that you tell yourself about the way that your life is going and how you feel about your day-to-day is the accumulation of the thoughts throughout your whole waking hours. It can be as small as liking your socks and your pajamas to as big as liking your job. And professionally speaking, really think about how you can say no to things that are not serving you. Maybe you are saying yes to projects in your 9-to-5 that are not beneficial for your career and are not fulfilling at all. Can you say no, or can you change your role in any way? And this also goes for socializing. Sometimes we feel excited in the moment to agree to a plan because it sounds like something to do, but do you have to say yes? Is it going to make you exhausted the next day if you go out at 9 p.m. on a Thursday? Is that worth it? If it's your true friend, they will understand if you say, no thanks. Sometimes you don't have to give a reason for saying no. Just be like, it doesn't work. You are truly allowed to say no, unless it's something you have to do, like care for your child, care for a family member, or pay your bills. There are choices in your day, and everything that you choose to do is up to you. So think about the things that you're saying yes to and why. Are you saying yes to certain forms of workouts that are painful and hurt your body and leave you feeling the bad kind of sore? Is there a different type of workout that you can look forward to? Is there a different way that you can get to work in the morning? Is there a different thing you can listen to on the radio that can make you just a little happier? Is there a different way you can arrange your closet to make you feel better about the clothes that you wear in the morning? What are the choices you're making, and which ones are actually necessary, and which ones can you say no to in favor of something that makes you a little happier? Also, can you say no to distractions? Can you say no to things that mentally make you feel upset and sad? Can you say no to negative news stories that make you feel utterly devastated? I used to be a TV news journalist. I've mentioned that on this channel multiple times, and I really believe we all need to be informed about what's happening in the world, and I don't recommend sheltering yourself from that. But if you are continually getting input that is making you feel sad and emotional all the time, consider when you get your information, how you get your information, and how it's making you feel when you consume it. Because if you're getting overwhelmed by external things happening in the world and that's actually affecting your psyche, maybe you need to say no to some forms of communication, because right now there are so many ways to get information. Some of it is necessary, some of it is important, some of it is noise, some of it is just not necessary. We all can get endless information in the palm of our hand from our cell phones. How much of that information on social media is making your life better? How much of it is just wasting time? Because your time really is a limited commodity. Would you benefit more from practicing yoga on YouTube, meditating, turning your phone off altogether and reading a book, going and putting your feet in the grass outside, taking a walk and feeling the sunshine on your face? Those are all things that don't take a lot of time or money that you might be neglecting if you're doing things that are not necessary or doing things that are draining your batteries. This can be the hardest step. Like I said, it was very, very difficult to send the message to quit a job, especially when I didn't have another job to replace it with. I had enough in my life to where I wasn't going to be in a bad position. I definitely do not recommend you quit something to put yourself in a difficult financial position or a stressful situation. So do not think that I am recommending that. But if it's something that you can pull back from safely and comfortably, consider either quitting altogether or pulling back. Maybe you just pull back 10%, 20%, 50%. Come up with a plan on what to do instead. Or maybe you don't do anything instead and you just need a little bit more space in your day, in your schedule. So if you're not happy with where you live, maybe your goal is, I want to move, but before you can make that happen, can you make your current space more joyful? This is definitely not a one and done type situation. It's going to be a constant process, and that is life. We are always learning, we are always growing, and we are always finding ways to find inspiration to move forward towards new goals and new dreams. One of my favorite books is The Alchemist, and one of the quotes from the book is that it is a possibility of having a dream come true that makes life worth living. So having goals, having dreams is so worthwhile and is incredible. And so if you can find a way to dedicate some of your time towards your dreams, your goals, whatever they may be, I absolutely encourage you to do so. And if there's nothing else, I hope that this video inspires you to say yes to your dreams and say no to the things that are holding you back from pursuing your dreams in a realistic, safe, and comfortable way. Sometimes just dedicating 1 hour a day to your dream is the best thing that you can do. Avoiding burnout while doing that is very, very difficult. So that's the purpose of this video. How can you pull back and trim the fat? That said, that brings me to the end, which is things to say yes to. Say yes to things that keep you in the present moment. Say yes to things that excite you. Say yes to fun. Say yes to play. Say yes to physical activity. Say yes to things that let you understand yourself better and connect with others better. I know I said to say no to social plans. That is such a case-by-case basis. If you feel obligated to go out late or get up early and do something that just doesn't work for you and you need to rest instead, rest instead. But if you're gonna feel free and happy and have fun and it's worth it for you to go to that concert on a Saturday night, do that. Say yes. There's the tendency to think about saying no to things in pursuit of goals and in pursuit of greater productivity, but you must also keep in mind the fact that the point of life is to enjoy life, to be present, to connect with other people. Your dreams and your goals are meant to be shared with others, and if you neglect others along the way, then what's the point, right? It's all about finding that balance, knowing in your gut what is right, listening to yourself, knowing yourself, and as long as you do that and find the things that are aligned with you reasonably, realistically, without hurting or offending others, then you'll be on the right track. I hope this video was helpful and enjoyable for you to watch. I hope you got something from it. I hope my little I quit story helps you in some way. It is definitely challenging. It is definitely a process, but it can be really rewarding and fulfilling to say no in service of your dreams, and also remembering that you need to have fun along the way. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.